One of the myths spouted by the EV zealots is that because electric cars are so simple, being just a battery and a motor, they're so much more reliable than regular cars. The reality is that they're not simple at all, they're just differently complex. Whereas a combustion car may have considerably more individual moving parts in an engine, for example, the battery pack in an EV is itself incredibly complex, containing as it does not just the thousands of individual battery cells, but the electronic battery management modules, plus embedded heating and cooling systems in an attempt to keep the degradation from temperature extremes to a minimum. But the real killer is that you can frequently carry out a simple fix on a combustion car on the side of the road, something that's virtually impossible with an EV. So not only are they more likely to fail on you, you're less likely to get it fixed quickly. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. If you'd like to support this channel and display your anti-EV credentials to your Tesla-owning neighbours at the same time, why not buy some awesome MGUY merchandise, like this mug, this baseball cap, or this t-shirt. Each high-quality item sports the MGUY No EV sign, and they're all made to order, perfect for irritating the hell out of your local EV zealots. Visit store.mguy.tv or click the link in the description to check out the full range of products. And of course, you can always just buy me a coffee. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Unfortunately, it's just another reason to add to the ever-increasing list of why, for most people, buying an EV is a terrible idea. Not only does the hassle with charging and the time wasted doing so mean they are hopelessly impractical and inconvenient, but according to a recent poll, they're actually more likely to break down. EV's most likely type of car to break down. 1 in 6 said their electric car broke down, a higher breakdown rate than for petrol, diesel or hybrid cars, according to a survey. Electric vehicles, EVs, are the most likely type of car to break down, a survey of tens of thousands of motorists has found. A poll of just under 30,000 car owners found that 10.9% had broken down in the past 2 years. Of those who gave their car's fuel type, about 1 in 6, 16.8%, said the car they broke down in was an EV, what Car Magazine's latest reliability survey found. This was a higher breakdown rate than for petrol, diesel or hybrid cars whose owners responded to the survey. Other data gathered by the magazine revealed that owners of diesel engine cars are most likely to report a fault, with 31% of its readers doing so last year, although that figure has declined from 50% in 2022. The findings come after Jakob Faudler, the AA's chief executive, warned of a common misconception that electric vehicles break down less frequently than petrol and diesel vehicles. Mr. Faudler said in April, currently at least that is not the case. The breakdown rate is, in fact, slightly higher for electric vehicles than for internal combustion engine vehicles. And fewer EVs could be fixed at the roadside as well. In its survey, What Car also asked drivers how often their broken down cars had to be towed away, as opposed to receiving roadside repairs that got them running again. About 2 in 5 EVs had to be taken elsewhere to be fixed, or 40% in other words, the magazine found, compared with just 30% of petrol cars. And of course, when these kind of poll results are published, the evangelists come out in force to excuse it away, to maintain their cognitive dissonance when it comes to electric vehicles, either by changing the metric or the sample set or some other sleight of hand to get the right result. Ben Nelms, the chief executive of the consultancy New Automotive, said, "Perhaps a better data point for the UK would be the MOT failure rate. After all, when a vehicle fails its MOT and isn't remedied at the centre, then there's likely to be something fairly wrong with it." Battery-powered electric vehicles, BEVs, have a lower failure rate than petrol and diesel vehicles of comparable ages, except BEV and petrol vehicles that are 3 years old, where the failure rate is essentially the same, he added. Well, I've no idea what point is being made there, but given the fact that the fleet of EVs on the road is probably, on average, much younger than the fleet of petrol and diesel cars, the higher rate of breakdowns in EVs is even more surprising. You'd think the older combustion cars would do worse. But again, this just shows that a well-maintained petrol or diesel car is pretty reliable in general. 20 years or more is not uncommon for such vehicles. But can you imagine at some point in the future trying to repair or maintain a 20-year-old EV? If there are any left on the road, that is. It would be like trying to use a 20-year-old laptop. If the company that made it hasn't gone bust, the software updates probably wouldn't be available and nobody would have the proper diagnostic tools either. So EVs aren't more reliable, at least according to this poll, and because of their complexity, they're less likely to be repairable on the side of the road. Yet another reason to steer well clear of an electric vehicle. Thanks very much for watching, really hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any tips or stories, go there. If you'd like to watch another video, go there. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, go there. And please subscribe to the channel.